Hello, and welcome back to another diary entry. My name's Bill Gibbons, as you can see down in the corner. Oh, got that right. It's a bit interspaced, the entries I'm making currently, because, well, a few days ago, a freedom of information request regarding communications from the chief executive came through, and as part of that communication, I discovered my local councillor alleged that I'd been stalking her. Well, I put a formal complaint in to the local government monitoring officer and asked for that to be publicly withdrawn and expunged from my record and for an apology to be made. Seeing as, they won't take my word that I'm housebound, they shouldn't take her word that I was allegedly outside her home. I don't even know where she lives. She states she's not in the ward that she's supporting. I don't know where she comes from. I'm not really interested. I'm more interested in her putting her mobile number on the website, which she still hasn't done. Yet, every time I ask her, she says it's available on the website. She doesn't even bother looking or checking. She's had her home address removed, apparently. But for the last 3 years, she's had the right to have it removed anyway. She doesn't have to wait for an allegation about stalking. She could just contact the council and say, can you have it removed for personal reasons? Rishi Sunak issued that statement. So, I don't know. I know more about politics than she does, apparently. Which is funny, because at one stage I wanted to become a local councillor. But I couldn't take all the bullshit from local authorities, you know? But there we are. How have I been? Mental health minus 3.5, I would say. It's calmed down a little. I'm still very angry and very upset that people refuse to talk directly to me. As part of I'll show you. As part of the freedom of information copies of data I've got, I found out that it wasn't the chief exec, after all, that put me on a single point of contact. Because I've got all the emails about the chief exec, and the single point of contact was notified to him by Sharon Allen Caby. So I'm assuming, since I'm going to put another FOI in about my housing record, because they wouldn't fulfill it last year. Let's see if they fulfill it this year. Because that will tell me exactly what housing have been saying about me. And without knowing what people are telling me, or talking about me, alleging that I've been rude and abusive. Well, I am sorry if I'm rude, but when you've had as much bullshit from Waltham Forest Council that I've got and had over the last 3 years, then you try staying calm. Like I said to Kimberly yesterday via email, the chief exec's assistant, since people are entitled to copies of correspondence in their name, why don't they just copy them in automatically so people can see the chitter-chat going about them? And then people like myself wouldn't get frustrated because no one's actually talking to them. I've read all this, or I've read most of this, up until about there, I think it was. And unknown to me, there was an awful lot of chatter coming from the chief exec's office. And he was getting assurances that people were communicating with me. And as I said to Kimberly in my email yesterday, that's where it's all fallen down. He's got assurances that they are talking to me, but no one's checked to see if they are actually talking with me. like I keep saying, I am autistic. I prefer a phone call. If there's restrictions that have been in place because of my mental health, then you are supposed to make reasonable adjustments. A reasonable adjustment is not restricting my access to services. A reasonable adjustment is calling me from non-private withheld numbers. So I've copied in the housing ombudsman on that. And as I said to Mary yesterday, if I was just copied in on most of the communications that was coming out of the chief exec, then not only would I have been more calm last year and my mental health would have improved severely because these things were happening, I would have been less rude and less anxious in sending so many emails because I could see that things were happening. I really don't understand why the person being talked about is not copied in into the correspondence. I don't understand that. It should be a matter of good customer practice, good customer service. And yet, without any training, they do what they want, Waltham Forest Council. So I publicly apologise to the chief exec, Martin Eason, because I accused him of putting me under single point of contact. But then again, Martin, if I hadn't had a struggle to get communication from the council and had to do it via an FOI, then I wouldn't have made allegations about you in the first place. All I asked for is to be informed, kept in the loop. That's all I asked for. As for your council and your colleagues getting shirty, I still want an investigation for racial discrimination into housing. It's not good enough that it's not logged and so people aren't suspended. There should be a full and frank investigation. But there we are. That's the first bit done. So I'll do an FOI for my housing record again, because I think housing have been told off by someone because they're being so compliant lately. Oh, and proves that I was right about the fire escapes and the fire doors, although they seem to have missed one of the fire doors, which I will be putting in again. Because they only mentioned one person in the block. There was at least two, and I asked for all the fire doors to be checked because I only know about two being tampered with. I don't know what condition the others are in. And I was right calling it a smoke seal. So I'm not making this stuff up. Anyway, what else is happening? After the last 2 weeks of cleaning, Lita came round at the weekend and properly cleaned the bathroom, which is now clean and shiny. It's shinier now because I suddenly discovered that if you want to make tiles shine, you use window cleaner on them and polish them to a nice immaculate shine. So as part of this week's cleaning regime, I will steam the bathroom and clean the tiles properly and then clean them again with window cleaner. I almost missed my monthly pill thing this morning. It was only because I was sitting at my laptop that I saw Wells Pharmacy pull up and walking back from my flat. And it suddenly, I turned the intercom off overnight because I still get a drunk neighbour who does cannabis ringing me at 3 or 1 or 2 in the morning because he can't find his keys. Which tends to suggest he's left his door unlocked and he's only using the outside door. But there we are. Can't complain about these people because, hey, Waltham Forest Council, as far as I know, are racist. I yet stand to be swayed that it's not racism. I'm willing to see the evidence that they're treating everyone the same as me. But unless they can submit the evidence, then I can only assume that they are being racist, and I want a proper investigation. The police investigation is still going on, apart from the Equality Act breach, i.e. calling from private numbers, restricting access to their service. It's such a struggle when you're like me and people call from private numbers and you can't get communications back from people. And it's not fair. Legally it's wrong and morally it's wrong. Why are public people using private numbers? The name itself, a public organisation. Why do they use private numbers? I think the private number and withheld number service should be withdrawn. Banned. No one should be able to withhold their number. And then we're all on a level footing. And there is no excuse for... The excuses I've been given over the last few years mainly fall into the, well, we call people at work and it can be embarrassing if the police are calling you at work. Yeah, but if it's not a withheld number... I mean, the first thing people will do if they see a withheld number after you've got off the phone is, oh, who was that then? So it's not really a privacy issue. Whereas if the police and other organisations used a disclosed number, you could add the disclosed number into your address book and put it down as Auntie Vic or Steve or Bob or anyone. And no one will have second guess about whoever it was. So it's more private to have a public number. So that bullshit doesn't wash, does it, boys and girls? No. Anyway, hello, Tabs. I've got my little monster dad here. I'm going to try and take it easy this week because it's been stressful the last few weeks. I'm still not getting out. But now I'm paying someone to come round and look after me. Then at least I'm clearing the rubbish. But I still want an answer as to why the council thinks that people in my position should have to pay to have their rubbish removed. Would like an answer to that. But until then, I'm going to love you and leave you. Go and play with my cat. And I shall speak to you again soon.